Yo guys, this is Hunter, and I'm super excited to be here to be sharing with you how me and Villagerz made our most recent collab called One More Night. It's out right now on Black Box Digital. Make sure to go buy it or stream it on your favorite platform. We really appreciate all the support. First, I want to start off today by talking about the concept of the track. This track has been a concept of mine for about a year. I've been playing around with it all this time, trying to figure out how I can make it something. And every time, I've changed it a little bit. But this has definitely been a big work for me. This track, I've really put the hard yards into making it, just because I really love the melody. I think it's such a great melody, and a lot of my mates also like it, and it's just something that I've been really trying to finish and get out there, and I'm glad I was able to team up with Villagerz to get that done. But basically, in front of me right now, I have the original track that I made. It's a little bit more euphoric than the track that we have now, and a lot more chill. It's more of a listening tune, if anything, more than a party tune. But this is the track that I made, basically, with the melody and everything, and with the whole mid-intro and stuff like that. And it was just one of those things where it was a little too chill, and I didn't really know where to go with it, so Villagerz helped me out with that, and then now we have this collab. But basically what I wanted to do first of all was show everyone about the vocal, because the vocal is a pretty important part of the track, and there's a few things I did to it that I just wanted to share with you guys. Maybe they can help you guys in your productions, or just a bit of interesting information. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so I am now in here in Ableton with the original project file, and these three layers here are the vocal, these three purple layers. I'm going to move them closer together so we can all see what is happening. But basically this vocal, it's a basic vocal from Splice, nothing too special. I really like this vocal. I think it's got a lot of character, and it's just a quick and simple tune. It's got some great wording. Everything about it I really like. A lot of people have a lot of stipulations about using Splice vocals. I think if you can get into Splice and find something really, really good, I think it's definitely worthwhile. Splice obviously has some really, really great samples, and they have a lot of them. And it's also about the way you manipulate them too. You can just change the entire track, I think this vocal worked really, really well, and I did a couple of things that I thought would fit the track a lot more and that would give it a bit more character. So a couple of the layers of the vocals, this first layer is just very basic. It's just the vocal on its own, and just a little bit of EQ on there just to cut off the low end so it doesn't fight with anything else in the mix. I believe I pitched it down about three semitones here, just to fit the key of the track. And the normal one just sounds like this.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away.
Which is great, but it didn't really fit the key of the track, so I had to pitch it down.
It's just too hard to move.
And it still sounds great, even though her voice is a lot deeper. It worked out really well. So that's the only thing about that layer. It's just bussed to the reverb and delay return sends that I've got here, and then the next layer is pretty much the same, pitch down all the same and stuff like that. It's got the same EQ on it too, a little bit higher up with the low pass, but we've actually added some distortion on there, because one thing about hardstyle is obviously distortion. And always got to, I love to distort vocals to just add that bit of complexity, a little bit of character in there, and sometimes I will just distort the original vocal, but this time I thought I should probably make it a little bit different and make another layer that's distorted, so we still have that main character of that soft voice, but in the background this distorted vocal in the background. It's like more of a background layer rather than just a part of the vocal itself. So on its own, this is what it sounded like.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that.
So as you can see, it's very compressed, very distorted, but with the original vocal, it sounds really, really good.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. You only give it one more.
So as you can hear, it is very, it's still very distorted, but it comes out a lot cleaner because the original vocal is on top of it, and you can still hear all the wording, things like that. My favourite part with this vocal though is what I did down here is I have actually done a vocoder underneath. I absolutely love doing vocoders. I think it's one of my favourite audio effects just to ever exist. I think it adds so much to a track, especially if you can get it to work right. I've even experimented with vocoding kicks and things like that. Funny thing is, actually, I just realised one of the kicks in the track are the second kick in the second mid-intro of the track. If you haven't heard it, make sure you go check it out. The punch in that is actually a vocoder tock, because I tried to make a vocoded kick, and we sort of made a hybrid kick, which I'm sure Villagerz will explain later. But I just wanted to explain, I love vocoder, and I tried to make a vocoded kick out of it, and it turned out really well, to be honest. So yeah, so I love vocoder, but I did it to this vocal, which I was really, really happy with. And this is what it sounds like underneath. So with that vocoder, it follows the chords of the track, and it just makes it also just helps with the vocal to fit more with the track. That's what I've mostly used it for. It helps, so there's this underlying layer that follows the chord progression. Because it's a splice vocal, it's not custom made. So when I was doing this, I had this chord progression, I had the melody and everything like that, and then I went to find a vocal. I didn't fit the vocal around the track. So doing this helps to fit that vocal around the track. It sort of forces its way to help to do that a little bit, and I think it works really, really well. But I absolutely love the vocoder bit. So it's just a simple Ableton vocoder. I know that FL Studio has one too. There's also a bunch of different third-party plugins that are really, really great. I've also just got basic low-pass EQ. Nothing too fancy with the EQ that I've done, because I think it's already quite well. The vocal itself is really high quality, so I didn't really do much with that. But I've vocoded it. I've sort of routed it to just a simple silent in it. Just the basic. Can't really hear it because it's routed, but it's the basic. Just the basic silent in it. Nothing too special with that. I think it sounded really, really good. So all together with that, all those vocals, it sounds like this.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we give it one more night, just one more night?
So that's it. I think it sounds really, really good. Definitely a very complex vocal. The last thing I want to say about this vocal is just this end bit here. So I found with the vocal that it abruptly ended a little bit towards the end. It didn't really flow nicely. If I wanted to keep going with the track. So I'll show you what that was.
One more night.
CPU damage there. But yeah, so it just said one more night, and there was like this one beat gap that seemed really uncomfortable to me. So what I just did there is just did a bit of a vocal chop, which is something I do quite regularly in my tracks actually. And it's sort of just goes one more night. Like it just continues a little bit. That was bad singing, but you get the point. So yeah, instead of just saying one more night,
One more night.
the CPU was hitting the fan today. But yeah, that was what I did there. And what I really liked about doing that as well is that we've used that that little vocal chop right at the end. We've actually carried that as a theme throughout the tune to fill in the gaps during the drops and things like that. with the distorted bit. You know, it just carries on every 8 bars. So that's it with me. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Maybe you learned something for your own productions, or maybe just about how I do things. And hopefully you can take it away and make some epic music. So now I'm going to ship you off to Germany, where Villagerz will explain the production behind the version of One More Night that you know and love.
Yo guys, what's up? We are Villagerz.
Thanks, Hunta, for your explanation. At first, if you haven't heard it yet, then go check it out.
So, but still, we have a little preview for you, for sure. So this is what the main part sounds like.
It's just too hard to move, we are standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we give it one more night, just one more night? One more night.
As you can hear, we made it totally different from his original.
So let's dive into the project of the song, and yeah, there we will show you step by step how we made it, and yeah. So this is the project. It's pretty big, but yeah, usually for collabs projects can be even bigger. This is the mixer. We used a lot of tracks. It's actually full. We don't have any tracks left, so it's a pretty big project, and actually pretty CPU heavy, so if the sound is fucked up sometimes, sorry, we only have a laptop.
So we start with the intro. We will show you the screeches and the kicks.
So the screech is actually the vocal with a lot of EQs and distortion on it. So this is the screech, how it sounds on its own. Without effects it sounds like this. So as you can hear, it sounds pretty weird. The vocal itself is just pitched up 1 octave, so yeah, we get the higher notes. So to get the distorted screechy sound, we added these effects. It's at first a little alter boy, which controls the formant. We put it down, and this is what it sounds. So it kind of pitches it down, but not really pitches it. If you pitch it, it would sound like this. So then we added this EQ and the Trash 2 distortion. Now it sounds like this. So we are getting pretty close already. This kind of stuff is usual for hardstyle. You also do hardstyle kicks like this. Yeah, then we added another EQ to cut out the low end and the high end to make it sound a bit better for the ear, so it doesn't hurt. If you listen to the sound without, it sounds like this, and with it sounds like this. So then we added this reverb, Valhalla Vintage Verb, because everything sounds better with reverb, that's always. And the reverb gets controlled with this peak controller. This means if the sound is playing, the volume of the reverb is getting lower, so you don't drown the sound, because if you don't control the reverb like this, you only hear reverb. Without the peak controller, it sounds like this. So you only hear the tail of the reverb, nearly, and if you add the peak controller, it sounds like this. so the sound itself gets more powerful and through the reverb. Then just an echo boy for the delay. And just a balance. I think this is just for automation purposes throughout the track for the volume. And then we have some more effects here. Just an OTT compressor. Just to make it a bit more fat and pushing through the mix. And another EQ to cut some more frequencies to make the sound more clear. This pull tag, how headhunters would say it. This is exactly like an equalizer, but just for specific frequencies. There you can add specific frequencies and boost them how much you want. And yeah, in this case we just pushed up the high end because we felt like it needed some more. This effector is just a FL Studio plugin. Everyone has it who has FL Studio, and we put a ring modulator on it, which is automated throughout the track as well. And this Pro MB multiband compressor, just controlling some frequencies again, works like an equalizer, but it's working while the sound is playing. And this stereo plugin is just for that the sound is sounding a bit wider.
So we have 3 different kicks, and this is what they sound like. This is the first one. That's the second one. And almost the last one.
So the first kick is, it's pretty much a reverse bass kick. It's pretty hyping and you can dance to it pretty good, I think, on the dance floor. Yeah, it goes pretty hard. And the second is just like the climax kick, so the main kick, so to say, which plays under the melody later in the track. And yeah, this third kick is just a pretty hard gated kick with a pretty hard punch, and all these kicks were made in a separate project and in some sessions. So you have to know, if we make kicks or if we produce music, there are 2 kinds of sessions. There's one where we produce tracks like this in a big project, and others where we just make kicks or just make single sounds which we can use in other tracks. So we have our own collection, and we just can use them if we have to.
What's special about the track is the time change at the break. We make it slower to make it more emotional. Look at the BPM and see how it changed. Can you feel the emotions now? As you can hear, we catch the 80 vibes, cause it's the time and we like it. It's trendy.
Yeah, and it really fits the vocal, in our opinion. And Hunta likes it as well. So now we get into the break and we will start with the vocal. It's actually the same vocal as Hunta had in the old version, but we processed it a bit different and added another vocoder layer. So this is the vocal with effects.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we give it one more night? Just one more night.
Without the vocoder layer and the effects on the vocal itself, it sounds like this.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. We give it one more night, just one more night.
So to achieve the sound, we just added a bit of saturation with FabFilter Saturn and an EQ to boost the high end and cut the low end. A compressor to get the volumes more even. This RVox stereo compressor, it makes the sound a bit warmer, so you can hear it with and without. First without.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we give it one?
So it adds a lot of volume and it pushes it really hard. And a de-esser to cut the S sounds so they aren't that harsh anymore to the ear. Another EQ to cut a lot of unnecessary frequencies which just hurt the ear. They are called resonance frequencies, and if I boost these you can hear them quite a lot, so I will show you.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that. Can we give it one more night, just one more night? It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that.
We added another pole tag to again add high end to the sound. This without.
It's just too hard to move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that.
Another EQ to form the sound a bit more. Another compressor. We use the CLA vocals, but only use the spank compressor. Everything else is turned off. And the filter for the automation throughout the track again. And here we have the vocal, the vocoder layer. This is what it sounds on its own.
Move when you're standing right there. It's just too hard to walk away and leave it like that.
So we did that with the vocodecs, and where is it now? This silence 1 layer, this is just an init sound, and we routed this to the vocal layer in the mixer channel and connected them. So the sound of the silent one gets sidechained to the vocal, and you can hear both sounds, so to say. Pretty hard to explain, and yeah, we just added an EQ to cut some frequencies again, a compressor, another compressor, and a stereo enhancer to make it wider again. So the vocoder is on the sides and the vocal itself is in the middle. So for the synth sounds we have some Spire and Nexus layers. This is one of the layers. It sounds like this on its own.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. So as you can hear, the cut off of the sound is opening as we move on with the track. And this is just to get the focus on the vocal at the beginning and just get the sound louder and louder and get the emotions up, you know? So the sound itself just opens more and more. So then we have these two sounds. These are two Nexus sounds. So these two are just for the bass. And then we have this sound, the last one, in Nexus as well. There we have, like with the spire layer, a cutoff filter as well, which is opening throughout the track to make the sound bigger and bigger throughout the time.
This was the break, and now we look at the melodies and the different layers.
So at first we have this plug which Hunta used in the original as well. This is what it sounds like.
Many CPU crackers.
Yes, this is what we meant at the beginning. So the main melody contains a few layers, and this is what they look like. So pretty much only silence for the main melody, except for one spire layer. And the chords are spire and silence one as well, so nothing too special. So this is what the chords look like. And this is what the melody itself looks like. So it's a pretty simple melody, but it gets in your mind pretty fast, I think. So people can scream it at events or even at festivals. Who knows where this track will go. So these are the different layers from the melody. The first one sounds like this. The second one. There's a third one. The fourth. And the last one, the fifth. Again, all together they sound like this. So, and the same for the chords. There is 3 layers. This is what they sound like on its own. The first one. The second one. And the last, the third. And all together again. And when Hunta sent us the stems of of course he had a melody already in it, and we used his melody layers just for one more layer for our melody. So this is what Hunta's melody sounded like. And if we combine ours with his, it sounds like this. And with the chords, we have the full sound.
So this was the track. We hope you like it and learn something. If you have any questions or will give us feedback, then let us know.
Ja, was halte ich von One More Night? Richtig starke Nummer, Villagerz, Hunta, Deutschland, Australien, super Kombination. Ich durfte das Lied Anfang 2021 zum ersten Mal hören und habe gleich gedacht, wow, richtig starke Nummer. Geile Kicks, coole Vocals, coole Melodie, einfach das Beste von Hunta und Villagerz. Und das zeigt ja auch das Feedback unter anderem von Atmospheres und auch von Headhunters damals im Livestream.
Alright, really cool tune.
Ja, dass diese Nummer einfach eine gute Qualität hat und es gibt halt auch gute Künstler abseits des Mainstreams, also nicht immer nur auf die Mainstage gucken, sondern auch mal links und rechts, und ich finde Villagerz und Hunta gehören definitiv zu zwei Künstlern oder Acts, die man nicht unterschätzen sollte. Einfach mal gucken, was gibt es abseits des Mainstreams, welche Musik wird so released, mal gucken auf Spotify oder Downloadportalen wie hardstyle.com und ja, einfach auch kleine Künstler mal unterstützen. Ja, und ich freue mich einfach wahnsinnig, dass wir jetzt One More Night auf Blackbox releasen konnten.